You will make errors, of course, in the process. You will think you have managed to find where a word belongs and how it fits, only to discover later that the placement of another word requires you to make a whole series of readjustment. The error will get corrected because you'll so long as they are not found out, the picture cannot be completed. Once you have had any experience at all in this work of coming to terms, you'll soon be able to check yourself. You will know whether you have succeeded or not. You will not blithely think you understand when you do not. In comparing our book to jigsaw puzzle, we have made one assumption that is not true. A good puzzle is, of course, one of whole parts fit. The picture can be perfectly completed. The same is true of the ideally good book, but there is no such book. In proportion as books are good, the terms will be so well made and put together by the author that the reader can do work of interpretation fruitfully. Here, as in case of every other rule of reading, bad books are less readable than good ones. The rules do not work on them except to show you how bad they are. If the author uses words ambiguously, you cannot find out what he is trying to say. You can only find out that he has not been precise. But you may ask, does not an author who used a word in more than a single sense use it ambiguously? And it is not the same practice for authors to use words in several senses, especially their most important words. The answer to the first question is no. The second, yes. You use a word ambiguously to use it in several senses without distinguishing or relating their meaning. For example, we have probably used the word important ambiguously in this chapter, for we were not always clear as to whether we meant important for the author or important for you. The author who does that has not made terms that reader can come to. But the author who distinguishes the several senses in which he is using a critical word and enables the reader to make a responsive discrimination is offering terms. You should not forget that one word can represent several terms. One way to remember this is to distinguish between the author's vocabulary and his terminology. If you make a list in one column of the important words and in another of their important meanings, you will see the relation between the vocabulary and terminology. There are several further complications. In the place, a word that has several distinct meanings can be used either in a single sense or in a combination of senses. Let us make the word reading again as an example. In some places, we have used it to stand for reading any kind of book. In other, we have used it to stand for reading a book that instructs rather than entertain. In still others, we have used it to stand for reading that enlightens rather than informs. Now, if we symbolize here, as we did before, these three distinct meanings of reading, y, xa, xb, xe, then the first you say, just mentioned, is xabc, and the second is xbc, and the third is xc. In other words, if several meanings are related, one can use a word to stand for all of them. for some of them or for only one of them at a time. So long as each usage is definite, the word so used is a term.